What are ultra-processed foods and why are they bad for you? For most of human history, access to food has been difficult and people have suffered from hunger and malnutrition. The development of food processing has helped transform the food environment and health for the better. Canning and freezing has made vegetables and fruits available all year round. Pasteurization stopped the development of bacterial infections from milk. Preservatives prevent spoilage and extend shelf life. And fortification has made it possible to make refined flour a staple without the risk of malnutrition. The pendulum may have swung too far in the opposite direction. Processing has moved from preserving food, increasing vitamin content and improving safety to producing entirely new foods. Breaded nuggets made from mechanically separated chicken. A crunchy snack made from refined flour, salt and flavors. A sweet drink that has never seen fruit. And all types of food products that have little or no ingredients in their intact natural form. Most of these products have undergone intensive processes such as refining, hot extrusion, and molding. They usually contain colorings, flavors, emulsifiers, and other artificial ingredients intended to improve taste, mouthfeel, and cravings. Ultra-processed foods are often attractive, highly palatable, inexpensive, and ready to eat, and are a major source of calories in many countries, including the United States. Unlike ultra-processed foods, and processed foods remain in their original form: fruits, nuts, eggs, etc. Minimally processed food has been modified through processes such as cutting, pasteurizing, cooking, freezing just enough to make it ready to eat or safe, or to preserve it. Serious health effects, related diseases and conditions, including obesity, cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and some cancers, together account for about 70% of deaths worldwide. A growing body of evidence suggests that the increasing prevalence of these diseases and the global obesity epidemic are linked to the rise of highly palatable, readily available, ultra-processed foods. It is already well established that foods such as sugary drinks and processed meats are associated with adverse health effects. But these highly processed products are not the only culprits. The evidence that many ultra-processed foods are a problem is piling up, and many of these foods are common in our pantries. Processed carbs, like many products made with refined grains, breakfast cereals, energy bars, and chips, and other savory snacks, make up the largest overall group of these ubiquitous products. A large observational study conducted in France in 2019 found that higher intake of ultra-processed foods, such as packaged snacks, desserts, sugary drinks, processed meats, and ready-made meals, was associated with higher death risk among middle-aged adults. In 2020, another large observational study conducted in France found that a higher proportion of ultra-processed foods in the diet was associated with a higher risk of type 2 diabetes. A 2021 review of all available research found high consumption of ultra-processed foods was associated with increased risk of overweight, obesity, abdominal obesity, all-cause mortality, metabolic syndrome, cardio-metabolic diseases, frailty, irritable bowel syndrome, recurring indigestion, cancer, breast and overall, and depression in adults. Also, wheezing, not asthma, of particular concern, is associated with adolescent metabolic syndrome and dyslipidemia, and favorable levels of cholesterol and triglycerides in the blood in children. Other studies have found associations between consumption of ultra-processed foods and adverse changes in blood levels of cholesterol and triglycerides in adults, as well as elevated blood markers of inflammation. Serious problem. Carrying extra weight is strongly associated with an increased risk of cardiovascular disease, type 2 diabetes, and some cancers. A recent study found a link between ultra-processed food consumption and weight gain. In this randomized controlled study, 20 normal white adults stayed in the National Institutes of Health laboratory for 4 weeks. For 2 weeks, she was fed only ultra-processed foods: hot dogs, French fries, white bread, sugary cereals, potato chips, processed cheese, etc. Consume only processed foods: fresh fruit, unsweetened yogurt, nuts, fresh vegetables, beans, seafood, poultry, meat, grains, etc. for the next 2 weeks. Meals and available snacks are designed to contain the same number of calories and are balanced in protein, carbohydrates, fat, sugar, sodium, and fiber. Participants were allowed to eat as much or as little of each meal as they desired, although they reported enjoying both menus equally. participants unconsciously consumed about 500 calories a day more on the ultra-processed diet than on the unprocessed diet. That increase in calories resulted in an unintentional weight gain of an average of 2 pounds in just 2 weeks, while on the unprocessed diet, they unintentionally lost about 2 pounds over just 2 weeks. This convenient ultra-processed meal includes a patty made of mechanically separated chicken, pork, water, beef, soy protein concentrate, and other highly processed ingredients plus flavoring, and macaroni and cheese made with refined flour and processed cheese spread. A blow to nutrition. Even without weight gain, a dietary pattern high in modern ultra-processed foods is bad for health. Dietary patterns rich in whole and minimally processed foods, particularly plant foods like fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, and whole grains, provide plenty of health-promoting, slowly digesting fiber, antioxidants, unsaturated fat, vitamins, and minerals without a lot of refined starches, added sugars, salt, and additives associated with health problems, says Darius Mozaffarian, Dean for Policy of the Freeman School of Nutrition Science and Policy and Editor-in-Chief of Tufts Health and Nutrition Letter. Ultra-processed foods are just the opposite. His 2018 study, which analyzed over 230,000 products in U.S. grocery stores, found that 71% of his products were highly processed. The increase in availability of ultra-processed foods over the past half-century has coincided with a decline in the nutritional quality of the diet. Fiber, vitamins A and D, calcium, decrease with increasing intake of ultra-processed foods. Additionally, studies have shown that high intakes of ultra-processed foods can lead to unfavorable changes in the gut microbiome, bacteria that play an important role in metabolism and health. Ultra-processed foods lack the natural nutritional structure that speeds up digestion in the stomach and small intestine, says Mozaffarian. Not only does this increase the flow of sugar into the bloodstream, it also starves our natural gut bacteria. The dangers of eating hot dogs and other processed meats, bacon, sausage, ham, are well known. The health hazards of other highly processed foods are now becoming apparent. What to do? Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, lentils, whole grains, yogurt, milk, cheese, eggs, fresh or frozen seafood, poultry, and red meat. Automatically limit ultra-processed meat choices. A great way to do it. Look at your pantry, refrigerator, and freezer, says Alice Lichtenstein, Senior Scientist and Director of the Cardiovascular Nutrition Team at the Human Nutrition Research Center on Aging and Editor-in-Chief of the Tufts Health and Nutrition Letter. How much of the food in your household is processed or ultra-processed? What items are you willing to trade for less processed or unprocessed versions? When you run out, replace it with a less processed version, adds Lichtenstein. You only have to set aside some extra food shopping time once or twice to identify less processed options you enjoy. Once you do, restocking won't take additional time, and you may find new products you like even better than the ultra-processed ones. All packaged foods are processed to some degree. Ingredient lists that are short and contain mostly names of real foods are a good start when looking for less processed convenience foods, but long lists are fine if most of the words are recognizable, as with a soup with a long list of vegetables. Canned foods are more processed than frozen or fresh, but those with only a few ingredients like low-sodium canned vegetables, fruits in 100% juice, and tuna fish are still a much better choice than ultra-processed meat nuggets and packaged products full of artificial flavors, colors, emulsifiers, and preservatives. Given the wide range of items available, you will likely find most of the less processed options won't add too much time to food preparation once they become part of your habitual routine, Lichtenstein says. If you cannot find an unprocessed replacement you are willing to consider, look for minimally processed products with the least artificial ingredients, added sugars, and sodium. Less than 5% value of sodium per serving is generally low, and more than 20% is high. For grain product cereals, crackers, breads, cereal dishes, look for items that contain at least 1 gram of fiber per 10 grams of total carbohydrates per serving. When dining out, choose a restaurant that makes food from scratch as much as possible. Fast food items are often highly processed, but fast food chains are sprouting up across the country that focus on options with minimal processing. Other options with ingredients are becoming increasingly available. Avoid processed meat toppings such as diced ham, bacon bits, and chorizo sausage. Look for menu items that contain more vegetables, whole grains, fish, seafood, poultry, and in some cases lean meats to resemble their natural form when served. Even replacing hot dogs, fries, sodas, or milkshakes with water-grilled chicken sandwiches is a big step. We live in a fast-paced world where home cooking is not the norm and fast food options are plentiful. Please do not worry. Enjoy skinless, boneless chicken breasts, spiralized veggies, pre-washed lettuce, and more. It's an excellent step to protect your health.